We're still wandering around here on the north shore of the Hawkesbury River. Today it's mainly wildflowers and a dragon. Let's start off with this pointy bastard. Acacia oxycedrus. I've been trying to grow Acacia oxycontin but haven't any luck yet. Cylindrical inflorescence, very sharp foliage. One of two pointy species in the area, the other is called Acacia ulicifolia. Oh, there's a bee we haven't managed to kill yet. Go and hide, little fella. Here's a strange plant growing on the sandstone platforms. Grows with Dillwynia fascicularis, you can see in the background. This is Baeckea brevifolia. In the Myrtaceae family, close relative of Leptospermum. Has oppressed tube-like foliage, tiny and weird. Sessile leaves, margins entire. Triangular reddish sepals, 9 to 15 palisade stamens. Obviously 5 petals. Only grows from Bateman's Bay to Gosford. It's the end of July and the place is stock full of Boronia. And as we know, it's stinky. Here's a bunch of Boronia ledifolia. Leaves are full of pellucid oil glands. Trifoliate. Leaves are recurved with indented midrib. Here's a close-up of a different species. This is pinnata. There's 160 species of Boronia. It has flatter leaves than ledifolia, margins entire, and it doesn't have stellate hairs. Ledifolia is usually pink, but sometimes comes in white. Bossiaea scolopendria. Branches are flat and winged up to 15 mils wide. Colour is absolutely kick-ass. Pedicels up to 3 mil long. Flowers up to 14 mil long. Any chance of getting that in focus, pal? There's Sucker the Sauvignon Blanc. The Fabaceae family has been split up into 3 subfamilies. Anything with this morphology is in the Faboideae. Acacias are in the Myrtaceae. Rhizobia bacteria in the plant's roots fix atmospheric nitrogen. It's converted into ammonia and then ammonium NH4. Other genera include Aotus, Dillwynia, Gomphilobium, Mirbelia, Phylota, Pulchrocladia, Platylobium, Glycine, Hardenbergia, Canadia, Hovia, and Indigofera, Davida. They look a bit like Independence Day aliens. This is Cassytha, an obligate parasite. Native to Australia, they twine clockwise. They adhere to their hosts with root-like haustoria. They cannot complete their life cycle without exploiting a suitable host. Once established, they stop photosynthesizing, and then they just start bludging. This is Caustis pentandra, a rush in the Epacris. They have 5 stamens. They're flowering at the moment, rusty coloured. Looks like an old pair of my socks. The other species that grows in this area is Caustis flexuosa. This amazing stuff is a lichen, not a plant. Pulchrocladia retipora. Likes growing on the sandstone platforms. Plane above us is checking for sharks. He's another member of the Fabaceae, Dillwynia floribunda. Yes, abundant flowers, we get it. Crowded linear leaves up to 20 mils long. Anthrose foliage, yellow and red flowers. Ericaceae, Epacris, microphylla. Tiny flowers. Anthers obvious in the throat of the flower. Flowers solitary, extending down branches. Acute bracts. Plants in the Ericaceae develop associations with mycorrhiza as a way of getting more nutrients. If you're interested in reading about this, here's a good website. There we go. 5 red anthers. White filaments. Light green style. Would you believe this plant is in the citrus family? Rutaceae. This is Eriostemon australasius. Quite spectacular, really. Leaves up to 80 mils long. Apex acute with an indefinite petiole. There's only 2 species left in Eriostemon. This is the only one that grows in New South Wales. Everything else has been moved into Philotheca. As more DNA work is carried out, species are moved around. Others in this family are Coria, Crowia, Verbalium, Boronia, and Xeria. Reminds me of that photo of Dad in those threadbare underpants. Here's another Proteaceae family member, Hakea propinqua. Hakea is endemic to Australia, about 37 species in New South Wales. Lumpy hard fruit containing 2 winged seeds. Terete leaves, axillary inflorescence, which we obviously can't see here. Here's a finger for scale. This is Leucopogon microphyllus. 2 subspecies recognised. Tiny white flowers, pubescent. You might need a hand lens for this one, it's very tiny. In the subfamily Epacridoideae. Here we have another member of the Fabaceae, Mirbelia speciosa. There are 2 subspecies recognised. Stems have fine hairs. These leaves are only about 3 mils long for the macro. The banner is a lot more angular than something like a gonphalobium. This plant is Verbalium squamulosum. It's just as interesting to look at the underside of this plant. Has an amazing metallic look to it. Plantnet.com tells me it has 9 subspecies. This is Philotheca buxifolia subspecies Vata. A strange little plant that grows north of the Hawkesbury. Has strange warty, kind of succulent leaves. The flowers resemble Eriostemon, of course. That's not the plant humming. Lots of aircraft activity today. In botany, the word pilose means having long, soft hairs. This plant is Xanthosia pilosa, found up and down the coast and can be highly variable in appearance. Leaves are highly lobed. Flowers often come in twos. On the way back home we stopped off at another track and came across this fella. Agamidae is a family of over 300 species of iguanan lizards. If they sense danger, they can either freeze like this one or run. This one's made himself as big as possible. Despite his appearance, he's pretty harmless. Reminds me of the iguana scene in that Werner Herzog film, Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. There ain't no iguana. They are carnivorous. I think I'm safe though. They're sold for hundreds of dollars on Gumtree, of course. In a way, you just can't leave the guy in situ and be happy that he exists at all.
Now I want to make my fortune.
The males are very territorial, only permitting females and juveniles in their area. Can be found in the whole southeast of Australia. The Science News website has a story on how they, when they're embryonic, can change sex from male to functional females. Seems temperature drives this. I just think he's pretty cool. That's it for flowers and beasts today. Go pull out a weed or two and don't act like a fuckwit.